So let's do our work for the neck. So hands up. And hands down. Then up and out. And turning the head. So effectively full and empty. You think the side that you're looking towards is the full side. So two different minds, the full mind and the empty mind are very different. So the two sides of the body are changing all the time. And then clasping the hands behind the back and rotating the head. And the other way. Winding it down. And then back to prayer. And reaching up one hand at a time. So intending. Imagine your mind is pulling your little finger up. And then reaching forwards. And twisting to the side. And then the strong twist. So one hand behind. And release slowly down the other side, aiming for an even twist all the way up the spine from the sacrum to the head. And the other side again. And the other side. And then back around to the front. And let's do a bit with the stick. Yes, behind, and just trying to roll it. You can use the hands, just the arms, or trying to get the spine straighter than normal. And then up behind the neck. And a few twisting. And a few tipping to the side. And then the stick above the head, and just a few more tipping. Good. And then just down the front and up and back. Good. Now let's try that twist for the arm that we did last time. So holding the stick. And now just, so the top goes down to the side, so palms effectively facing up, and then twist it right round. Bring the other hand underneath. You have to push the stick up a bit, and just twisting the arm so the stick catches the upper arm behind the elbow, and you're just twisting. Yeah, that's it. And then the other side. So turning it to look up. And it's just got to go all the way around, and the other hand comes underneath. Need a shorter stick, really. Okay. And now just pulling and pushing. So just a little bit of this. So gentle teasing, stretching, pull. And pushing the hands towards each other. And pulling again. And pushing. Okay. And now let's squeeze and stretch the ball. So breathing out as the hands come together, breathing in as they move apart. Tightening the muscles in the belly, bring the hands together, and then the muscles in the lower back to pull them apart. And then turning the hands, so holding the ball. When the ball is small, one hand's on top of the other. And then just squeezing the ball and bringing it into the down chin, so into the belly. And then let's try the figures of eights for the heart. And then bringing it down into the belly, so smaller, tighter. And then bring it up to the head and let it loosen the jaw. So we're doing two vertical figures of eights with the hands. But you can also consider the two bottom circles of those two figures of eights as a horizontal figure of eight that's looping around the jaw, and the top two circles as being a horizontal figure of eight that's in the top of the cranium. Okay, and now let's rub the hands. And the hands over the sacroiliacs. And rubbing the hands again. And now the hand on the back of the skull. I want to feel this area similar to the sacrum. So imagine here there's a triangular bone pointing upwards. So the spine is 3 hills and 2 valleys. So the 2 valleys are the neck and the lumbar spine, and the 3 hills are the skull, the thorax, and the sacrum. So there's real symmetry there. And then just get a bit of action in the hands, like you're trying to bring some pliability into the skull. And then just bring the hands round and index fingers in the ears. Just feel that line joining the 2 index fingers. And feel the inside of the head where that line passes. That's where your spine hits your skull. We want a feeling that the skull is really balanced, poised upon the top of the spine. So they say empty strength in the neck. So very much a sense that the head is lifting upwards off the pillar, the column of the spine. And then just teasing the energy. And then just the arms up. And reach, bring the hands together and down, pausing at the head point a moment, and then throat. And then the heart. And now let's rub the hands again, and we'll do the eyes. And the eyes. Then reaching up with the hands out to the side and snaking the hands. So keeping the eyes still, but noticing this movement in the peripheral vision. And then both out, both up, and hands together and down again, pointing, pausing at the head point. And then down to the throat. And down to the heart. And the down chin. And now let's trace the peripheral vision. So you have to keep the eyes fixed on something. And just let the hands drift apart. And down. There we go. Throat, heart, and down chin. And one more. And now just one hand at a time, reaching for that thread on the top of the head and pulling it up. Another hand out. And the other one. And now just stretching legs a bit. And get the butterfly. And then kneeling. And down into the fetus. So from prayer, just reaching up. and down. Separating the feet and sitting between them. And fetus again, so the hands up. Up. And then lying back. And pulling the knees up and out. And then if you can, just pull the feet onto each other like in the butterfly. So you're holding your feet and the feet are touching each other. Then send the the right leg down and hold the left knee. So pointing your right foot down away from you, but pulling your left knee up towards the left shoulder. And then swap them around. So bring one up, send the other one down. Pulling the knee up. And swap them around again. And now try and pull the left knee up, but also down to the left. It's really opening that groin point. And then swap hands. So bring the right hand across to take the left knee down to the right. So twisting the spine, turning the head to the left. And back up. And swapping the legs round. Left one down, right one up. Holding the right knee with the Right hand pulling it down to the right. You can pull the foot up. And then swapping the hands, and now the left hand taking the right knee on the outside and pulling it down to the left, turning the head to the right. And back up and pulling both knees up. Now just a bit of cycling. And then up into the squat. Okay, let's just start with the bouncing. And then alternating the hands. just a bit wider. And then the feet up, and a bit of this one. I want to get some movement in the tail. So my tail points down towards the heel that's going down. Sense that my tail is going through the heel and into the ground. And slow jog. And then, so the feet quite close, but now just turning. So because the feet are close, we can't really move side to side too much. So there's a real sense that the spine is the axle around which you're turning. Remember in the classics, it says the spine is the axle and the waist is the wheel. So feel the wheel turning about the axis. So keep the legs bent. It'll tend to make you lean forwards a bit, but don't worry about that. and a bit wider, so sort of shoulder width, maybe a bit wider than that. And now let's try that breathing. So the ball, expanding the ball, contracting the ball. Feel the relationship between the hands. It's always there, it never breaks. You're just playing with it, you're stretching it and then compressing it. The lower back tightening, and then the belly tightening. And then turn a bit with it, so getting the hands facing each other from underneath, from holding the ball, holding the ball in Tai Chi. So when the right hand is on top, you turn it to the left. And keep it going, but let the bottom hand just slip round to the back. So effectively, now we're doing what we were doing before. So it's knocking the gates of life. As you bring the hands together to hold the small ball, the ball is your Dan Chen inside, with one hand at the Ming Men and one hand just beneath the navel. And now just let it go, let it become the first warm-up exercise. So exuberant, so with a bit of speed, so we can clearly feel the centrifugal, centripetal. Centrifugal is expressed in the arms flinging out, and the centripetal in this tightening torque around the waist. We want to go quick enough so that the hips and the shoulders become out of phase. So my arms are still flinging around as my waist is already turning back the other way. Okay. And then riding horse. This feeling of the heels sinking into the ground. There's a feeling that if you let it, the ground will just suck a root out of your heel and into the ground. And then come onto the front of the foot, so lifting the heels now. And then rocking into the heels. So really put the heel down, but then just feel yourself being sucked down from there. So this sense of righting your posture because your sacrum is pulling down and forwards, it's something that you just wake up to rather than something you do. You just feel the ground sucking your heels, and that will just right the sacrum, and then you'll get this lift. So from the root of the tree comes the ability to reach up to the sky, to the sun, to feel that in us as well. I let myself be sucked down into the ground from my heels, then this will come forwards and this will lift up. And now let's try the figure of eight around the feet with the weight. So the figure of eight for the legs and the feet. So I sink into the heel and then I loop around the outside edge of the foot and around the front of the foot. From that, I'm sinking, and it circles. And then let it keep that going, but let it become the pulling in the rope. So you're still figure of eighting around your feet, but now the arms are coming as well. And this is the other figure of eight, so the one that's with the energy. The arms are with the energy. The feet are with the weight. So my weight is figure of eighting in the lower body, and my energy is figure of eighting in the upper body. And then back into riding horse. And let the heels suck you down. So I can imagine a bucket holding a bucket full of water and the bottom came away, then the water would just gush out, splash down. So it's that sense that something in you can just release and the bottom disappears. And now you're just this torrent, this stream of energy flowing down and soaking into the ground. There's no ground effectively. So the ground is a firm surface upon which you perambulate and you express your energy, but it's also an abyss. If you can just relax, you'll get taken down into it. That's the sense. That's the relaxation that we're looking for, really. The relaxation that opens up the abyss. This is one of Heidegger's big things. And then just coming off the heels. So for us, the ground is a firm surface upon which we purchase to move around. Imagine a tree. The ground is very different. The earth is very different. It's something that it penetrates in order to collect, to hunt for nutrients. So we have that in us, that ability to just penetrate into it with our energy, as well as this ability to run around and scurry upon its surface. So this is the animal, this is the heels up, and my speed, really, my nervous speed that's able to just scurry around and hunt or flee from hunters. And then heels down again, but really feel it. Oh, something, a real sense of something is being sucked down out of you. And that's the stimulus that starts that streaming. Then it's just up to me to have a mind that can stay with it. And the relaxation you have to make is just really the sacrum. It's the sacroiliacs, just releasing a tiny bit that enables the energy to pass down the spine and down the two legs. And it's scary and it's painful. And now just moving from leg to leg. So full and empty, for me, full and empty is the essence of Tai Chi, the yin and the yang. So the yin endlessly becoming yang, the yang endlessly becoming yin. They're always changing into each other. This is what we're just trying to watch here and enjoy. So as one becomes full, the other one becomes empty. But as soon as it's full, it wants to become empty again. So these, like throwing a ball from hand to hand. Feel the heel as you come into the foot, really dig down into the heel. And that will then enable you to lift the other heel, which is the stimulus for the return. And now just with the trampoline. So bouncing out of the full leg, sinking down, and just feel the up. If you're going down, there must be something coming up, especially if you've stopped. And then you let your body go with that, sinking into the heel. And there's a sense of something coming up through me, which I eventually follow. So as I come into my left foot, I'm turning to the left. And then I just stay in the left foot and start turning to the right. And that will just drag the energy up. So you just want to stay in the foot long enough for the energy to come up. So it's that that's pulling you rather than your leg that's pushing you. Sinking into the foot, turning to the left. And now I just let myself turn to the right, which I want to do once I have turned to the left as much as I can. And now with the bungee, so the foot that's pulling now. So let the straightening leg really straighten, and then lift the heel to bend the knee, and that will pull you across. Just it's that balancing act with the mind. So I can't afford to become too engrossed with one, with the full, otherwise I'll lose the empty. So I'm having to keep these two minds in balance all the time. Feel as you come into the foot, you're effectively doing a loop of the figure of eight around the foot. At the same time, the other foot and the hand, the other side of the body, are looping around the place you're going to pull towards. It's just walking, really. So it's the best exercise as long as you're mindful. So part of my mind is with my stability and the earth, and the other part of my mind is reaching ahead to my destination, or at least to the next step. So as I sink into my left foot, it's like I'm throwing a loop, a lasso, around the place I want to pull myself towards. So part of my mind is with my root, digging from my heel down into the ground. The other part of my mind is with my spirit, which is reaching outwards. Okay, and now let's try the same thing with 1 foot forwards. So first, the figure of eight around the feet. So you've got to see it with your mind. So here I'm sending out a loop with my mind that embraces the foot. And we'll let it just become this. And really feel the heel sucking. It's like it's sucking your sacrum and your tail towards it. So it's really the attention to the root that actually brings your bum in and makes your spine vertical. It's not an adjustment that I'm making here. It's just an opening to the ground. You feel that especially in the form. So as I come into the foot, there's, oh, I'm sinking down, and then it will just right my posture. And the other foot forwards. So first, just the weight going around the feet. So the mind that's with your weight, it's like the obedient, dull mind. It plods. And then if I just let my mind come to the energy, so I reach with my mind around the foot and that pulls me into it. I reach my mind into the foot. So now my mind is with the energy and the spirit, so it's creative and joyful. So very, very different than the mind that's with the weight. And then just let it become this one. It's pretty much the same. It's just the backhand is now reaching forward rather than back towards the back foot. So it's this sinking into the ground rather than onto the ground that we want today. So just let the ground pull your sacrum down, and then it will also bring your sternum up. Ooh. So John just had this so beautifully. Sometimes he could be working with me and then he'd just decide to turn it on and it'd just sink. And it was as though it was melting down into the ground. So just, oh. Okay. So let's bring the feet up and try this one again. Now just going for the figure of 8 inside each foot. So just figure of 8ing, but just seeing it looping within or around the foot. And then a bit wider. Same thing, but now feel it in the hips and the belly and the dantian, the waist. You've got these two vertical figures of 8s effectively, but feel the two horizontal ones as well. The one that's with the bottom hand and the one that's with the top hand. And then a little bit wider still. And now the shoulders, the same thing with the feet if you can. And now it's the chest, it's the heart. And again, feel the two horizontal figures of 8s. Yeah, so there's something looping here and then here with the top circle. And similarly, something looping with the bottom circle. You can think of the top figure of eight being around the top of the shoulders, and the bottom figure of eight sort of scooping into the armpits. So here it's as though I'm scooping into my own armpit. And then bring the feet up a bit. And now the head one. And the bottom circle of each of these figures of eight loops around the jaw, that side of the jaw. And you can think of the top circle of the figure of eight being with the eye. So the eye and the jaw, the side of the head. And then just wind it down. And now looping, so the shoulders sinking into my right foot, circling my left arm, really reaching so that it pulls away from the collarbone and the shoulder at the top. Still with this sense of streaming down the leg and through the heel and into the ground. And then the other way. It's just a very different mind, this mind that opens the abyss. It's what John was just so good at. You know, we always have to be aware that John wasn't really teaching Tai Chi. Certainly nothing like what you see anywhere else. And then let it wind down. Okay, and now let's try a bit of stepping. So exactly the same thing, sinking into the heel. And then this leg pulls me back and I sink into the heel. So my toes reach out and then catch the ground. And that brings me that brings the heel down, and then I sink into the heel. And it's almost like I disappear into the ground from my heel So the toes require something to purchase upon, so that the heel can then descend through the skin of the ground. Feel the loop around the foot from the big toe, around the outside edge to the big toe. And then some with the other foot. The front of the foot is the spirit, and the energy in the back of the foot is the weight. So you can feel it switching from heart and head down to belly. So in order to catch the ground and pull myself, I activate the spirit. So it's like the eyes brighten, my eyes get bigger, my eyebrows lift. And then as I sink into the heel, I just feel this sinking down within my body into the dantian. So heart, if you like, or head, and then dantian. Heart, dantian. Feel these folds here. So it's sort of open on the top there. If it's not, then you won't sink down beneath it. So this, I get sucked into the ground. I get sucked into the ground through the heel. Okay. So riding horse. Football calls. The openness here. Just bring your mind to the heel. Imagine you wanted to look at your heel. You'd sort of look behind yourself, wouldn't you? And then you'd look down at the heel. That's the sense of the energy that drops down through the heel and into the ground. Almost like it slid down your back or from your sacroiliac down the back of the leg and into the ground. So it's very much something that's behind you, feels like it is. Same as when we're in with the animal, when we lift the heels, it's very much a sense that something has come up here, up the front, in front of you, in order to express forwards. And then the heels again, so we'll feel it from the sacroiliac. Oh, it gets sucked down into the ground. And then from here, sucked down. And then let's just try lifting the leg. I want to stay with the heel if I can, this sense that the heel is sucking down into the ground. It's like a subterranean mind. I remember with John, sometimes he could like talk, like give a talk, and it was as though he was dredging the words from the depths. So nothing from the mind. He was just opening up and allowing this old wisdom to filter into him very much from the ground. Heel and ooh. And now let's lift the knee with the two hands. So stretching, a bit like the stretch we did lying down. It's the same stretch, really. And then the other one. And now lifting the foot behind. So you can sort of grab the big toe with one hand and the little toe with the other, and sort of try and pull them apart to stretch the toes away from each other, create space between each toe. And then the other one. So it's this openness here in the groin that's difficult, that must require a cheerful mind. I'll have to work on that. And then lifting the foot into the groin. All the time, I'm just trying to relax around the sacrum. Then riding horse one last time. Heels. Yeah, it's a very different mind, the one that sinks into the ground than the one that settles upon the ground. So we don't want the mind, the ground to be just something that we spring from, because then it just becomes like a set of opinions. It's something that we sink right down into so that something can come up through us. So the unknown, the unconscious. It's not so much the unknown, it's what Castaneda called the unknowable. Yeah, this is what makes it really difficult, because you can only sort of work on it a little bit, because otherwise you just lose all your bearings and then you just get depressed. Okay, let's bring the feet on. So keeping the legs a little bit bent. So we just want to feel the difference between the heel mind and the front foot mind. So the heel mind burrows, it wants to go into the ground. The front foot mind wants to reach out and connect to others. So we need both, of course, but the one that we tend to neglect is the heel mind. You see it when people walk, you know, they're always on the front of their foot, they're always effectively falling forwards and using their leg to stop them falling down. And then just finishing.